All right, can you hear me? Awesome. I'm not one of those doctors that shows up to the room 5-10 minutes late, so we're going to get this presentation rocking and rolling. Is that good? So if there's people out in the hallway, tell them to come on in, hopefully. I mean, if they give me the big room, I'd hope at least we fill it halfway, right?
To people of your choosing, I guess.
Oh,
There you go.
nice. I have prizes. Did you have prizes? Oh my gosh. That's phenomenal. All right. I think they've scurried in enough. I am Dr. Errin Weisman. I am super excited to be with you guys today. And my presentation is going to be about truth prescriptions. So let's rock and roll. Maybe. Or not. Oh, whoop, whoop. There we go. So, 2007, 10 and a half years ago, this was me at my white coating ceremony. First years, raise your hand. Your white coat still look real good? Not got too much stains on it yet? Good. All right, next, 2011. So I need to see the hands of second, third year students. Good. Who's my fourth years for match week? Hello. Graduation's coming up. You get to wear the goofy hats pretty soon. Are you excited about it? Have you already measured and they're almost in and everything like that? It's a great feeling. So these are my medical school buddies, the gals that I studied with, who they got me through school, I got them through school. I'm a DO from Kansas City, but originally from Southern Indiana. All right, so a little bit, that skipped a little bit, didn't it? There we go. A little bit later in 2011, that's me during casting clinic, pregnant with my first one. And then that would be December 2011 with my 2.5-month-old doing inpatient rotations. Can you tell by the look on my face, how exhausted I was? Oh my God, I was pumping like a milk cow. I was up all night on the wards, and on my days off, I had my little son. It was a mess. Goodness gracious, this is touchy. Okay, so fast forward through residency. I did family medicine down at Deaconess in Evansville. I'm super fertile. I had another kid. And that's my residency class when we were all excited because you know what? We had made it. We were so done. But I want to tell you, even though I look pretty stinking hot, I mean, look at those legs in those pictures. I have to admit, I kind of blew them up a little bit. It was the worst time of my life. And we'll go into it a little bit more. So that's a totally fake smile right there. So about that time, 2014, 2015, I needed a creative outlet to work through burnout. And so what I developed was truth prescriptions. And that's how I'm going to present to you today. I know that we've had a lot of speakers today talk about their authentic voice. So that's what I'm going to show up for you today. I'm just going to tell you the truth from my perspective, what my practice has been like, and give you hopefully a few little truth prescriptions along the way. If you're a social media type person, you can follow me on Instagram. I throw these out about once a day. If you're not, hopefully you can just read some and enjoy it along the way. But what I hope to share to you today is that the lessons that I had to learn the hard way, know that you're not alone and that together we are going to change healthcare for the better. And I don't know what happened to my text. I had some nice stuff, but oh well. So, not only do you have prizes that you can win for your participation today, which I did not know about, I have the chance, according to the Hoosier Lottery, to win $500. So, you can get a scratch-off ticket. I'll be honest, I bought 15 of these, and I scratched one last night, and I was a loser. But you have the chance to get one. So, when I am talking, asking questions, jump up, get you some, talk to me, and you'll get a lotto ticket. So I am definitely the epitome of a burned out physician. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was burned out in residency, and it really came to fruition the first couple months in practice. And because of that, that's where I am today. I am now a physician life coach. I'll be upfront and honest about it. I think everyone should have a coach. And I'll tell you a little bit more why about it. When I get into the topic of burnout, talking about healthcare, the toxicity in it, the sexual harassment that I've been around, the discrimination, I will probably have some shit-tastic language. There will be some F-bombs, so if that offends you, you may leave. But it's probably going to be a little unorthodox than what you've seen before today. The other thing is, too, the statistics, the etiology, the definitions, blah, blah, blah. I hated it when lecturers, they would spend like 75% of their lecture talking about that and then like cram the really good stuff in the last 10 minutes. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to just push that bullshit out the window, and we're going to go ahead and just get right into it. The other thing I have to say, too, is burnout is not a personal failing. I think too many times we hear undertones like, oh, Dr. Weisman, she's having a really hard time. She's just not going to make it, I don't think. Or I think Dr. Weisman's depressed. Or, it's something wrong with Dr. Weisman. But I'll be here and one to tell you that it is not you. It is the system in which you function in. And the other thing is, too, I get a little frustrated with the word resiliency. My best friend and mentor, Rachel, is here, and she's heard me say this before. I hate the word resiliency. And I hate the word resiliency and the fact of the definition. To me, it makes me feel like I have to be tougher to do my job. Well, let me tell you something. I'm pretty damn tough. And you're pretty damn tough, because you would not be sitting in the seat that you were in right now if you're not. So I know they have other definitions for resiliency, but you will not hear me say that today, because I think resiliency is bullshit. And I think that we have got to work to change the environment that we're in, because you cannot work hard enough, you cannot work long enough, you cannot work through the environment that we are in today and still be a healthy, well-rounded person. Okay, sorry, I get on my soapbox. Jesus just lead me a little bit. Truth prescription number 1, quiet your inner critic. At some point, if you haven't already done this, you're going to sit down, put your hands on your head, and say, what the F am I going to do? Right? Clinical practice. Who's my clinicians in here already out in practice? I mean, there's times you just sit at your desk and you just go, what the hell? And that's when that little voice kind of starts creeping in. It says, told you you weren't good enough. That school that just got started, told you weren't going to be prepared enough for this. Or, I know we have some IU students, but your MD colleagues, yeah, they said that DO stuff wasn't good enough either. That little voice will start coming in. And what I do is to encourage you, tell you, good Lord, is you have to have positive self-talk. You have got to have something to tell yourself, because when those negative thoughts infiltrate into your mind, you have got to have something to counter that. So my personal one is, take a breath. I say, Errin, I love you. You're a badass mother. You can get through this. Nice butt. I believe in you, and I love you. So maybe a better version for you is what I put up here. So everybody say it with me. I am a good doctor. Come on, participation. I am prepared. I am human, and I am enough. So I want you to take 1 minute right now. They gave you little notebooks in your little package you picked up today, or pull out your smartphone, make some little notes in the text session or whatever. I want you to type down, I am. And I want you to write in for the next 30 seconds what your positive self-talk is going to be. And if you want to share it, you got a chance at a lotto ticket, just so you know. Go. Some people find this exercise super hard. Some people are like, oh, I got this. But no matter what, you need to have this ready to pull out of your tool belt whenever you need it. So I got any takers on who wants to tell me what their positive self-talk is going to be? All right, go for it.
Okay, I stole mine from the help, but it is, I'm smart, I'm kind,
Awesome. Pass her down a lotto ticket. Oh, caveat is, if you win, you got to give me my $1 back. That's all I want. That's fine, then give it to a friend. Come on. There. Truth prescription number 2, acknowledge someone else's pain. I've heard this in a couple of lectures that I've popped through in today. But you are going to come across a colleague who is in the hands and head position. And I want you to go against that instinct of just walking away from them. Don't treat them like they have Ebola or TB or Hep C or HIV or they just got divorced and their cooties are going to rub off on you. And then you're going to get divorced and Ebola and Hep C and HIV. Too many times in medicine, we suffer in silence. One, because we are too prideful or too ashamed to admit that we need help. And secondly, sometimes we have our heads too far up the ass of healthcare to even notice other people are hurting. So the examples that I can think of in my own life, I was literally sitting at my desk, sobbing one day in clinic. My partner walked in, noted my condition, and said, "Oh, you're busy," and walked out. In that moment, not only was I so distressed, I just went down even a little bit deeper. Second example, again, sitting at my desk sobbing. Believe me, I don't do this every day. But sitting at my desk sobbing, it was from that picture in December. I was doing inpatient, had a 2.5-month-old. I was trying to pump. My husband and I had just gotten in a huge fight, probably 36 hours before. We were ready to tear each other's faces off, and we hadn't been talking. I just sat at my desk and just cried. And Dr. Jones came over, put his hand on my shoulder, and I remember this like it was yesterday. He said, "Whatever happened, I'm sorry. What can I do for you?" Changing my world, absolutely. So I encourage you to be somebody's Dr. Jones. When you see a colleague struggling, they're in pain, reach out to them. I know it can feel awkward and uncertain and like it's just something you kind of want to just brush off and you got your own stuff to deal with. But you know what? You just go over and just say these words, "How can I help you?" They might try to push you away. Just kind of go back because, that's our first doctor instinct is to say, "I am superhero. I do not need your help." Ask again. Tell them, "I'm taking off my doctor's coat. I'm talking to you as a person right now. How can I help you?" If they push you away again, okay, don't get too weird and stalkerish. Walk away then. But if they start to cry or they start to open up, just listen. Just be present. Just sit there with them. Because you know what? You may be the only one that actually acknowledges their suck at that time. Truth prescription number 3, you are at highest risk. So I stole this story from the Happy MD, Dr. Dyke Drummond. Anybody know about him? Anybody? I see a few head shakes. Okay. Anyway, I'm from coal country down in southern Indiana. We don't mind as much as what we used to. We've kind of stripped our natural resources down there. But 2 ways that you can coal mine. Anybody know? For a lotto ticket? You can underground mine, which get tunnels and then go underneath bedrock, or you can strip mine. And actually we do both. But this is in particular to going down in. So before the EPA, OSHA, all of our technology, coal miners would take canaries down into the coal mine. Anybody have any idea why they would do this? I see 2 hands, 2 lotto tickets. Kinda, yeah. What we got? Oh, I guess the other gentleman who I'm sending a lotto ticket to. What was your answer?
I was just going to say that it was kind of an early detection.
Early detection, perfect, yeah. So what are they trying to detect for? Come on, you're in medical school. You need to know the names of these. Carbon monoxide, yes, with an M. Good job. Do you want a lotto ticket? Sure. All right. I'm really hoping somebody yells up that they actually won something eventually with all these. So yes, that is what we're trying to do. What's carbon monoxide smell like? Nothing. What does it look like? Nothing. It tastes like nothing. So it's a silent killer, right? So diving a little bit deeper in, why is carbon monoxide so bad for our human physiology? Hands. So you can get a lotto ticket. I saw one back here. Say again. Exactly. Great job. And it actually causes such a high affinity that on the other, if you remember on the hemoglobin molecules, it doesn't let the other oxygen disassociate into hypoxic tissues. So what organs get really pissed off when they get hypoxic? Well, they all eventually do, but what is the quickest to? Brain. Yes, your brain and your heart. right? So you get hypoperfusion, you get seizure, coma, death, all really sucky things. So these coal miners, of course, didn't want that. See, you didn't even know you were going to get a physiology lesson in this. You just thought I was going to say shit a lot. So I'm really glad I got that worked in there. All right, so anyway, now switching over to the biology nerd in my brain, what about a canary makes it such a great detector? Any other biology nerds?
It has a much more rapid breathing rate.
Kind of, but not really. So flying birds have a billowing system. It helps keep their mass down. So there are little pockets off of their lungs that actually, when they inspirate, they fill up those billows. When they expirate, the billows actually fill their lungs back up again. So they are getting a double dose of oxygen or whatever toxic is whatever in the air. So their metabolism's higher, so you weren't really too far off on that. But it's the billowing system that really gets them a double. Because they tried mice, they tried rabbits, they tried cats, and they worked okay. You know, they died a little bit faster than humans did, but birds really did. So with that being said, Dr. Drawman compares us to these canaries because who eats, sleeps, participates in medicine more? More than us, more than physicians. Nobody. So, I mean, we are the canaries. We are getting inundated with it. So, with that being said, it'll be the next prescription, but I want you again, take your phone out, take your notepad, whatever. I want you to answer this question for me. What is one thing that you can do to protect yourself? I mean, you've been at this conference since this morning. So, what's one thing that could be your gas mask against the toxicity of healthcare? 30 seconds. I do Spartan races, so I always got this on me, so you're on the clock. $15 seconds. No rush. Great. Anybody want to share the one thing that they're going to take away from today, their own gas mask? I see back here. Awesome. She said to rely on her husband. He's going to be your gas detector kind of thing. It's good. I could give a whole lecture on how supportive spouses will make or break your medical career. All right, truth prescription number 4, self-care every single day. Yoga is not going to fix burnout. Breathing exercises is not going to keep you healthy every single day. They're important to be in our wellness plans. It's a nice thing to have. It definitely does help, but you have got to have other measures in place as far as to keep yourself well. I wish there was a class that we actually took in medical school where you learn like the real life shit that you need to know about. Like self-awareness. Everybody gets headaches, right? Occasionally, it's just a headache. But can you tell with your body how you feel after you haven't eaten in 12 hours? Or how about when you have a liter of urine sitting in your bladder? Can you feel those triggers? Not just you're dying in your stomach, but the other things that your body is telling you about. How about the self-awareness when you drank 5 cups of coffee just to have a coherent conversation? I mean, the other things that I didn't really think about is, do you notice changes of seasons around you? Do you notice changes in your coworkers? Do you have the perspective of joy and gratitude that you can be thankful for something every single day, every single hour? Because I didn't. Understanding yourself. Oh my God. I was 30 years old before I ever sat down and ripped off the labels that I had given myself and really truly understood my own makeup and who I was. So again, another exercise. You have 30 seconds. I want you to write down who you are. Who you are. Like for instance, for me, I didn't put it up there, but I am a tomboy, curly-headed, nerd girl who loves cussing, as you can tell, euchre, crochet, athletic competition. I hate borderline personality, NASCAR racing. I think in absolutes. I have trouble with the gray. And when I'm in deep thought, I have to process things over and over again before I have to actually speak them out. Can you say that about yourself, like in depth, deep, in 30 seconds? If you can't, you need to. It's really important as you move forward in life. And that's why I believe everybody needs coaching, because coaching helps clarify me. Coaching helps clarify who I am, my goals, what I want for the future, and helps me live daily living. So truth prescription number 5. Sometimes there is no right answer. I think I heard another speaker kind of talk about this. You know, in life and reinforced in medical education, it's about checking off the box and answering that next Scantron, and then taking one more step down the line, right? You take your MCAT, then you get into medical school, then you take step 1, then you take step 2, then you do step 3. Then you do an in-training exam. Then you do that a couple times, do your board exam, do recertification. But let me tell you, being a good test taker does not equal being a good doctor. I know you hear people say that, you know, like, who's the, you know, what do they call the person who graduates last in the class? Doctor, right? You know, they all do that. But there really is something that's installed with us. Like, I know I talked to a second-year student who she's prepping for boards. And I just told her, I was like, you're going to be fine. And she's like, I know. And I could see, like, that glaze setting in on her, like, oh, I don't even want to talk about this. You are not the test. You are so much more beyond that. And you have to remember that. And the thing is, they kind of lied to you. Come on. Patients are really fill in the blank. They are not multiple choice answer. Oh, pick that one. That's good. Then this one. And the same thing goes for life. I mean, there's specific standard of care points that we need to hit with patients when we're taking care of certain disease states, you know, as if you're writing a good essay. But you know what? So much of medical practice is fluid and flowing. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. This was a huge one for me because I wanted the certain answer. I wanted to go look up a study. I wanted to have this piece of data. I wanted to look in my book. I wanted to get an up-to-date. I wanted to know 100% of the time I was doing the right thing for that person who was sitting in front of me. I was not comfortable with being uncomfortable. So another question for you is, where in your life are you uncomfortable with uncertainty? Is it maybe as you're shadowing around, you're on the boards, you're doing something, and you're just like, I really don't know what to do. And then the next thought is, oh, I'm so glad I'm not in charge. Game of Thrones fans? Anybody? Come on. There we go. Who is this? Daenerys Targaryen. This girl's been through shit, hasn't she? Through the series. Has she not? I really relate with her, except for the like being naked or half naked or having blonde hair. My next point is medicine is mean. Women, you better pony up. It is 2018 and medicine is not anywhere even close to it. And it is so sad to have to say that. I mean, I can't even go into examples that I've had personally. Like, what do I do when my attending screams at me or does something inappropriate 101? I needed that class. Or what happens when you get hit on in the doctor's lounge 202? Or how about, yeah, you told me I could be everything that I want to be, but how can I be chief resident, mom, wife, planner, exercise, eat right, look like a model, and have all my laundry done and still not go batshit crazy 303? Because women in the room, you just need to know that there is still gender bias and discrimination that happens. You know, the Me Too medicine, hashtag Me Too medicine, it's real. I've been to a couple women in medicine, good Lord, couple women in medicine meeting, and, you know, I'm not even surgical, but to hear some of their stories, I'm just like, oh my gosh, why is this still happening? And you know what? Same thing goes if you're not white. You are also going to have discrimination and bias against you. And girl, if you are non-white and female, you have got challenges. And I'm not telling you this to like degrade our system and like men are bad or anything like that. I'm just saying you need to know the fight that you are getting ready to go into, because you're going to have to work harder and longer than your male peers just to have the same amount of respect. And that goes too for guys. If you see this happening, you need to name it right there. That's the best thing you can do to help us. Luckily, I had a great residency class. You know, when they saw that I was, I would get shit for pumping. I was allotted those 15-minute breaks just like anybody to go do something. But, nurses can, it's amazing to me, female nurses on female physicians. There's just so much research starting to come out on that workplace violence that's happening. They would name it for me. Or if they'd see me cry at my desk, Dr. Jones was there for a hug. Or Dr. Boudreaux was there with his candy, ready to hand me some when he knew it'd been a rough day. Or there was some Let It Go karaoke with Dr. Cortez down in the resident room. So I just ask you, both women, be ready, and men, be ready to name it for all of our colleagues. Because together, we are going to make this better. Just some examples, missed it, whatever. The stuff that you're going to impact. Anybody have a story? Anybody had kind of those experiences yet? I hope not. It's okay if you don't raise your hand. I know it's out there. I'm just saying, be aware. Don't go into it naively like I did. I thought, this is the 21st century. That stuff doesn't really happen. It does. And it's sad. So truth prescription number 7, you are not God. You have to learn handoffs. In residency, we'd say, when it's good, it's really good. And when it's bad, it's really bad. Babies die, children die, people die. Sometimes it's not the death. Sometimes it's the outcome that was bad. And sometimes it's not the outcome. Sometimes it's just the feeling that you have when you walk away from the patient that just does not feel good. I don't know. Somewhere along the way, we get installed with this programming that medicine is supposed to be our entire purpose. We're supposed to eat, breathe, sleep, do nothing else besides that. And I think this conference is a good step forward to show that that's not how it needs to be. And that's what we need to fight. I think this conference is helping us to fight that software that says we need to be stoic. We need to not show our emotions. I was in one of the lectures this morning and talking about some outcomes and how do you handle your emotions, and you just kind of go through with it. And I say, no. Show those people you're human too. Cry with them, hug them. Do what you would do if it was your family member sitting there. Because, ultimately, that's what I would want my doctor to do. So somehow we've got to rewire the software. Do not be tricked into building your entire identity on being a physician like I did. I thought, hell, I'm going to be a doctor. That's enough, right? I wrote my burnout story back in 2015. If you're interested for the whole thing, you can jump on the website and look at it. But in that, I wrote, medicine was never just supposed to be my job. It was my calling, and I felt like it had betrayed me. Again, Dr. Drake Jauman writes down, we are all workaholic superheroes that are emotion-free Lone Rangers, perfectionists. And I think at our core, that software does do that to us. Where's the AV guy? I'm going to throw this up against the wall. There we go. Thank you. I don't know, your moving helped it. So we can help people with our knowledge. We can guide them on the path that maybe they need to take, what medications they need to do. We can do procedures with them that we hope is helpful. But ultimately, you cannot put their entire health and well-being back on you. You've got to let it go. You've got to tune out at 9:45 at night. Because if you don't, the weight of the world will crush you. As it almost crushed me, to be perfectly honest. So what I've learned to do is hand it off. Either to my call partner, to you, to other students, to residents. And most of the time, I just got to hand it back to the patient and tell them, I've done all that I can do. I am now handing this to you. So say it with me. I have done all I can do. I am now handing this to you. And it's true. We can only do so much. But so fight that software that tells us that you've got to carry it with you. So my question again, get your little notebook, cell phones out, whatever. What are you holding on to that you need to hand off? That's a tough one, isn't it? So truth prescription number 8. I just want to share my story with you. You've kind of heard a little bit of it, but let me piece it all together. So 2014 and 2015 were the worst years of my life to date. I got out of residency, I'd started into practice. I really thought I had the ideal setup until I started looking around and thinking, I'd climbed, I'd scraped, I'd really worked to get up this mountain of medicine, and I had reached the pinnacle. And I was looking around, and I was like, I climbed the wrong damn mountain. I'm so unhappy right now. I would sit in my car in the morning just wanting to drive away. I didn't want to go in the office. I'd leave at lunch and go run or do something just to get out and away. I was frustrated with my staff. Now I realized I was being bullied and mistreated. But at the time, I just thought, what is going on? The sad thing is, though, in the middle of my burnout, which, again, you can go through all the definitions of everything, I reached out for help. I did what they told us to do. I got a hold of my med school gals that we all went, and we all got on a conference call, and it was just like, we kind of all feel that way. And I was like, okay, that there's comfort in the suffering when you're going through it together. I reached out to my office manager, and you know what she did? She suggested that I get on some Zoloft or some Prozac and take a vacation. Just go take a 2-week vacation, Dr. Weisman, go and recharge and get back here. And then maybe talk with your boss. Burnout cannot be recharged. Your situation has to be changed. Remember, it's not a personal failing. It's nothing that going away for a little while is going to fix. But I did. I didn't try the Zoloft, but I did go on vacation, and I came back and talked to my boss. And you know what? When I was sitting down with my medical director and talking to her, she said, Errin, that's why I just went to administration, because I felt the same way. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm still working. I'm seeing patients, but I need help. I am drowning in how I feel right now. So she referred me on to even higher in administration. And by that point, I was done. I walked into that meeting prepared, asking for the changes that I needed, but also with my checkbook, because I had saved back enough money to repay that forgivable loan that they give you at the beginning of your contract, because I was done. Down in my area, Toyota's down there, we build trucks and stuff. I was ready to go just work on the assembly line, just get out of medicine altogether, because I was frustrated, I was fearful, and I was ready just to fly, to take off the Fs. But luckily, through doing the thing that we tell our patients not to do, cruising the internet, I found people, other physicians, feeling the same way, and I no longer felt alone. And that's also where I found coaching. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't depressed. I knew I didn't need to go inpatient somewhere and be put on lithium. I just knew that what I was in was not right. Something needed to change. And what coaching does is not an expert telling you how you need to change your life. That person walks with you and helps guide you to find your answers for your life so you can live in the middle of your purpose. And with that, I was so inspired that I'm like, you know what? I need to go do this for other doctors, because I was like the only doctor in my class that was taking this coaching stuff. I was like, why are we not using this in medicine? And so that was my purpose for becoming a physician coach. And now it's my mission in life so that no one ever has to feel as dark and as lonely and as near drowning as what I felt back in 2015. So this is my life today. My ocean is so much better. I would love to go into the details of how I changed it, but my point to get across is I am doing it my way now, instead of just putting my head down and plowing through. So I hope that you can leave this lecture a little bit encouraged, empowered. Go tell somebody that, the last lecture cussed a little bit, because that's fun. Understand that you're not alone. Meditate a little bit on these questions that I gave you. Maybe use a few of the tools that I made you repeat after me. And just remember, from one of my favorite book series, help will always come to those who ask for it. Harry Potter, Professor Dumbledore. So I am so grateful to be here, guys. I don't know how they found me down in southern Indiana to bring me up here, but I really appreciate Peter and the firm crew who brought me in. My husband's not here, but God, like I said, I need to write something about you have to have that support from your spouse. So those are my kids, the Wild Weisman crew. Thanks so much to my friends and colleagues. These are my backers right here. These are my life givers. This is my tribe. Thanks to my best friend and training partner. We do that crazy Spartan stuff, like I said. Thanks to my mentor and kindred spirit, Rachel. She's sitting here next to me. And again, thanks to you guys. Goodness. I'm so sorry if you watch this playback and see this. So I launched a project called Doctor Me First. I need some beta testers. You guys are a good group. I was just going to throw it out there. If you're interested in learning more about burnout, how to stay away from burnout, more about my burnout experience, you can contact me here and be a beta tester. But all in all, I just want to tell you guys that there is light in medicine, there is hope, and there is going to be change. Because come hell or high water, I'm going to make those changes. So with that, I'm going to take any and all questions or comments. And if you come talk to me, I got lotto tickets. Thanks, guys.